Assalamu alaikum dear students. In this lecture we will learn about the development of the umbilical cord is a vascular connecting umbilical cord between the fetus and the placenta. This one is the cable which contains the blood vessels running in its core. And so it acts as a physiological lifeline of the fetus. The umbilical cord develops from the connecting stalk, which is a thick and the broad mass of the mesoderm present between the amnion and the chorion. And that mass of the mesoderm is actually a part of the extraembryonic mesoderm, whose splitting cause produces the formation of the chorionic cavity. But here in this situation, there is a no splitting of that extraembryonic mesoderm, leaving a mass of the mesoderm by which the embryonic disc along with its amniotic cavity and the yolk sac is suspended in the chorionic cavity. Initially, the connecting stalk is attached to the dorsal aspect of the amnion, but during the third week it changes its position and get attached to the caudal end of the embryonic disc. And also a very important development takes place during the third week, that is the formation of the blood vessels in this mass of the mesoderm. So those primitive umbilical blood vessels connect the blood vessels in the embryonic disc with the developing blood vessels in the chorion. And when the blood vessels forms in this connecting stalk, then it is called the primitive umbilical cord. So actually the development of the umbilical cord takes place in two stages. First of all, there is a formation of the primitive umbilical cord. Then from the primitive umbilical cord, the formation of definite umbilical cord takes place. During the fourth week of the development, the connecting stalk, which is now the primitive umbilical cord, again changes its attachment with respect to the embryo. Now it is attached to the ventral aspect of the embryo. Actually, this happens due to the folding of the embryo, and it is attached to an oval opening present on the ventral aspect of the embryo, and that oval opening is called the umbilical ring. And here the amnion is continuous with the surface ectoderm. This is the surface ectoderm, and here is the amnion. Amnion comes here, get attached to the margins of the umbilical ring, and also becomes continuous with the surface ectoderm. During the fifth week of the development, the three structures associated with their blood vessels, two of them passes through the umbilical ring. Number one is the connecting stalk, mass of mesoderm containing the allantois and the umbilical blood vessels. This is the allantois and these are the umbilical blood vessels. The second one is the yolk stalk or the Voigtland stalk along with the Voigtland blood vessels. And third one is the part of the extraembryonic coelom which connects actually the extraembryonic coelom, the chorionic cavity meaning, and the intraembryonic coelom, in which is now at this time is primitive gut tube is suspended. Due to the expansion of the amniotic cavity, here it is a small one, but as the growth continues, it starts to expand, and that expansion of the amniotic cavity not only causes the obliteration of the chorionic cavity, it also causes the amnion to envelope those structures which are passing through the umbilical ring. So, also causes emergence of those structures which are passing through the umbilical ring, the connecting stalk, the Whiteland stalk, and the part of the extraembryonic coelom. So, those merged structures which are now enveloped by the amnion. This one is the amnion and these are the structure. That composite structure is called the definite umbilical cord or simply the umbilical cord. Later on, the allantois present in the connection stalk, it gets obliterated, but the umbilical vessels persist and are surrounded by a mucus type of embryonal connective tissue, which is called the Wharton jelly, which provides protection to the umbilical blood vessels. During the 6th week of the development, the lengthening intestinal loops herniate through the canal connecting the extraembryonic coelom with the intraembryonic coelom into the proximal part of the umbilical cord, and that causes swelling of that proximal part of the umbilical cord. These herniated intestinal loops remain there in that proximal part of the umbilical cord for almost 4 to 5 weeks, and when the sufficient space is available in the intraembryonic coelom, they go back into the intraembryonic body cavity and also leads to the obliteration of the extraembryonic coelom present in the umbilical cord. The umbilical cord grows on lengthening, and I term it almost 50 centimeter in length, and its external contour is irregular due to the irregular course of the umbilical blood vessels. This is the irregular course of the umbilical blood vessels which is causing the irregular external contour of the umbilical cord, making twists, bends and loops which are actually the localized thickenings, and these are localized thickenings are called the false knots. Now the anomalies of the umbilical cord, first of all, with reference to the length of the umbilical cord, the umbilical cord may be excessively short, which causes premature separation leading to the fetal distress and the uterine hemorrhages, or the cord may be excessively long, and that causes the formation of the true knots, may lead to the formation of the true knots, and rarely sometimes these knots are tight one, leading to the compromised flow of the blood in the umbilical blood vessels, leading to the fetal distress and sometimes death of the fetus. Sometimes that long cord may prolapse through the internal os before the passing of the fetal head at the time of the delivery and may entrap between the fetal head and the maternal hip bones. Again, compression of the blood vessels may take place, leading to the compromised blood flow through the blood vessels and may lead to the fetal distress and sometimes death. Or sometimes that excessive long cord may encircle the neck of the fetus, and this may also lead to the fetal distress. Second important anomaly of the umbilical cord is with reference to its attachment to the umbilical placenta. Normally, the umbilical cord is attached to the center of the fetal part of the placenta, but sometimes it is not attached to the center, rather it is attached to the margin of the placenta, and that condition is called the battledore placenta. Another abnormal attachment of the umbilical cord to the placenta is that it is not attached directly to the placenta, rather it is attached to the membranes, and membrane tract is attached to the placenta. So the blood vessels have to pass through that part of the membrane, and in that passage these blood vessels are not covered by the Wharton's jelly, so they are unprotected here and may lead to rupture of the blood vessels, causing hemorrhage. This is the end of the lecture on the development of the umbilical cord. Inshallah, we will meet in the next lecture. Thank you so much.